In this module, we will cover the importance of selecting a proper speed for all driving situations, the impact of roadway surfaces on the vehicle's traction, how traffic density influences speed selection, and we'll discuss the importance of maintaining space around your vehicle. Earlier, we discussed the importance of effectively using your vision to recognize everything around your vehicle. However, simply recognizing is not enough. Good driving requires active engagement. It's crucial to not only observe the car ahead of you slowing down, but to also react appropriately by adjusting your speed or changing lanes if needed. Great drivers utilize the visual information they gather to proactively make adjustments and minimize potential risks. Drivers have the power to reduce their risk by simply adjusting their vehicle's speed and the space around their vehicle. In this module, we discuss how to adjust your vehicle's speed and the space around it. Now let's begin with understanding your vehicle's speed. How does a driver determine an appropriate speed at any given moment? Answering this question is much more complex than it seems. Most drivers typically think of speed as the rate at which they move forward. However, safe drivers need to be aware of and consider various aspects of speed, in addition to the posted speed limit. When determining the appropriate driving speed, it's important to consider these three main factors. The first of the three factors in determining an appropriate speed is your driving visibility. Visibility is essential to determining the appropriate driving speed. Assessing the ease or difficulty of seeing the entire traffic scene is crucial. Factors such as foggy conditions, dust storms, heavy rain, clear weather, and daytime or nighttime driving directly impact visibility and should be carefully considered. The second factor for determining an appropriate speed is traction. Traction is crucial for determining a safe driving speed. Assess your tire's grip and adjust your driving accordingly. Be mindful that road conditions and weather also influence grip, as driving on wet, snowy, or icy roads will reduce your tire's traction. The final factor to consider when deciding an appropriate driving speed is traffic. Dense traffic can impact the space around your vehicle, decreasing your maneuverability. Speed in dense traffic will also vary when driving in a busy commercial area compared to when driving on a highway. In most cases, the posted speed limit serves as a baseline for determining a safe and appropriate speed. The rationale behind posted speed limits is based on a comprehensive consideration of traffic density, road conditions, sight distance, visual field, and types of vehicles on the road, making them a key factor in ensuring safe and efficient travel. Fixed maximum or minimum speed limits are essential for ensuring road safety. These laws are designed to regulate the speed at which drivers can operate their vehicles. According to the law, drivers must adhere to the maximum posted speed limit in clear and dry conditions. Likewise, they are expected to maintain a speed above the minimum posted limit unless the prevailing road conditions pose a safety risk. The maximum posted speed limit is not always a guarantee for a safe driving speed. It is crucial to assess your conditions using these three factors we previously discussed: visibility, traction, and traffic, and determine a safe speed for driving in any given location. As responsible drivers, it is critical to take into account the posted speed limit, visibility, and traffic conditions when determining our speed. We must continually adapt our speed according to these variables. Exceptional drivers always align their speed with the prevailing road conditions. The speed at which a vehicle is traveling and the amount of space available are both key factors in motor vehicle crashes. It's important to have a good understanding of both speed and space for safe driving. It's essential to understand how fast is too fast, how much space you need in your specific conditions, and how you can create more space around you. Having the answers to these questions can be a matter of life and death. That's why this lesson focuses on speed and space. You will learn how to determine your speed at any time using these three factors. You will also learn how much space you need around your vehicle and how to get more space when needed. By understanding the space around your vehicle and how to expand it when necessary, you can greatly reduce the likelihood of being involved in a collision, regardless of the behaviors of other road users. We'll begin with the primary issue, speed. Many people choose to drive rather than walk because they want to get to their destination quickly. This preference for speed is the reason behind the extensive network of roads, freeways, and highways. Regrettably, not all drivers adapt their speed to the driving conditions. This leads to over 1.5 million crashes each year due to driving too fast. Speed also intensifies collisions. For instance, when your speed increases from 55 to 65 miles per hour, the likelihood of dying in a crash doubles. And from 55 to 75 miles per hour, the likelihood triples. But what is speed and what is the right speed? How do drivers know how fast to drive at any given point in time? Although some drivers guess how fast they should travel, skilled drivers use three main factors to help determine the right speed. As we previously discussed, those factors are how well you can see, or specifically your visibility, how much grip you do or do not have on the road from your tire's traction, and how many other road users are nearby, more precisely, the traffic around you. Visibility, or how well you can see the traffic scene around you, is a significant factor in speed selection. For example, even driving the speed limit would be too fast in adverse conditions. A challenging visibility condition, detecting obstacles ahead, becomes difficult. Without a clear view of at least 4 to 5 seconds ahead, you may struggle to react in a timely manner to avoid potential hazards. So in conditions such as rain, fog, dust storms, and snow, you should reduce your speed to allow yourself enough time to react to changing conditions, including obstacles. Your tires have only about 1 square foot of rubber in contact with the pavement at all times, so each tire must maintain a good grip of the road. Even if visibility is good, the amount of traction your tires have on the road surface also affects your choice of speed. When driving on wet pavement, it's crucial to remember that your tire's grip can decrease by as much as 1/3. To ensure safety and maintain adequate traction, consider reducing your speed by approximately 1/3 as well. For example, if the speed limit is 55 miles per hour, it's advisable to slow down to 36 miles per hour. Likewise, if the speed limit is 45 miles per hour, reducing your speed to 30 miles per hour can significantly enhance safety. Watch out for places where water is collected on the road surface. If you drive too fast, the front tires can begin to ride up on the film of water and lose traction with the pavement. This is known as hydroplaning. The tread on your tires is crucial for removing water from underneath them. The depth and the design of the tread, the tire's width, and the vehicle's weight can all affect the likelihood of hydroplaning. To prevent hydroplaning, it's important to drive at moderate speeds. Now, if you do find yourself hydroplaning, simply ease off the accelerator, and this is going to transfer more weight to the front of your vehicle, and this is going to help you regain traction. Often, the first 10 to 15 minutes after the rain starts are the slickest because not enough rain has fallen on the surface to wash away the oil and the dirt that is accumulated on the dry roadway surfaces. When driving on surfaces covered with snow or ice, your traction is greatly diminished, increasing the risk of accidents. Melting snow reduces your tire's traction by as much as 50% compared to dry pavement. To ensure your safety, it's imperative to slash your speed by 50% or more when navigating these precarious surfaces. Be especially careful driving over bridges and overpasses. Because these areas are raised, there's no heat from the earth to prevent freezing, so they tend to freeze before other roadway surfaces. It's best to avoid driving in ice or snow if possible. But if you have to drive in these conditions, try not to turn and brake at the same time. Doing so puts a lot of strain on one tire, which can cause it to lose traction more easily. It's best to brake first, then turn, then accelerate. You will also want to avoid being sudden or erratic with your steering and pedal inputs. A good rule of thumb is to drive as if you have a hot cup of coffee in your lap when driving in these conditions. You should also avoid using cruise control in wet or icy conditions. As previously discussed, one way to prevent the loss of traction is to reduce your speed by lifting your foot from the accelerator. This helps transfer more weight to the front tires, increasing your traction. This weight transfer cannot be accomplished with cruise control engaged. Using cruise control will limit your options when responding to a potential loss of traction. Additionally, bumps and potholes, loose dirt, leaves, gravel, or other debris on the pavement, road curvature, hills, and grade, as well as your vehicle's suspension, will all affect your traction. Finally, the other road users around you should affect your decision regarding how fast to drive. It really comes down to space. How much space do you have as you drive among other road users? Where there is more traffic, there are more drivers changing lanes, passing one another, and entering and exiting the roadway. Heavier traffic significantly increases the chances of a collision. You'll need to slow down in these areas to give yourself more time to respond. And don't think that just because some other drivers are driving at high speed, you should join and speed up as well. Drive your own trip, and at every point, you control the speed of your own vehicle and at the speed you drive. School zones, playgrounds, and shopping centers will also have a high concentration of road users. So be sure to slow down to allow yourself that extra time you need to react in these locations. Wherever you are, whatever your destination, you can and should always consider these three factors to determine your speed: visibility, traction, and the nearby traffic. The best drivers constantly assess all three factors and adjust their speed to match the surrounding conditions. Speeding increases your risk of experiencing a crash. The faster you go, the longer it takes to slow down. If you go 60 miles per hour, it will take you over 300 feet to stop. Sometimes that won't even be enough room to stop before hitting another vehicle. This confirms why adjusting your speed based on what you see is so important in the case that another driver does not see you and they pull out in front of you. Although your reaction time is the same at any speed, your braking distance increases as your speed increases. A vehicle going 40 miles per hour needs 4 times as much distance to stop as a vehicle traveling 20 miles per hour. A vehicle traveling 60 miles per hour needs 9 times as much distance to stop as one traveling 20 miles an hour. The time it takes to stop your vehicle comprises of 3 parts: perception time, reaction time, and braking time. Those 3 components consist of perception distance, which is the distance it takes for a driver to perceive a potential hazard; reaction distance, which is the distance traveled before the driver can react to the hazard; and braking distance, which is the distance covered once the driver applies the brakes. Even though driving faster may help you arrive a minute earlier or a few minutes earlier, it significantly increases the risk of a collision. Responsible drivers constantly adapt their speed to align with the current driving conditions. This is an ongoing and vital practice, given that conditions are perpetually changing. Excessive speed can lead to a myriad of issues, but skillful speed management can effectively avert potential problems. Just as drivers manage their speed, they also effectively manage the space around their vehicle. When we say the space around the vehicle, we mean the space to the front, to the sides, and the rear, all of the space around your vehicle. Having enough space in the front, sides, and rear means you have enough room to execute evasive maneuvers when forced by another driver. Enough space means you will always have at least one out. Although most drivers do not make the connection, space and speed are linked. Speed can determine how much space you have around you, and how much space you have at a particular time can affect your choice of speed, especially if you don't have enough space. All drivers make mistakes on the road. They can change lanes suddenly, pull right out in front of you, and even stop suddenly without warning. This is just part of driving, but such maneuvers add to your risk behind the wheel. This is why managing the space to your front is critical. One of the best ways to avoid colliding with another driver is to maintain a generous amount of space, especially in front, by keeping a safe following distance. This space provides you with time to react, creating a margin of safety. It's never a good idea to follow a vehicle too closely. If the driver ahead suddenly stops, you need time to stop. That is why you should maintain at least 3 to 4 second following distance between your car and the car ahead of you. If driving conditions are favorable, 3 seconds would be the absolute minimum amount of time needed to stop the car if there's nowhere else you can turn to avoid a crash. However, you should have an alternative escape path available at all times just to be safe. To maintain 3 to 4 second following distance, count out loud using roadway markers as your guide. For example, there's a sign ahead. When a car passes the sign, start counting. If you reach the sign before you count to 3 or 4, this means that you're following too close. Simply slow down, find another landmark, and start the count over again. 3 seconds is the minimum following distance in ideal conditions. However, following a motorcycle or large or oversized vehicle, nighttime driving, or adverse conditions will require more time. Motorcycles have the potential to stop at a shorter distance, which leaves you with less time or space to stop. And the exaggerated blind spots for large or oversized vehicles can put you in danger. For these situations, be sure to add 1 second of following distance for each adverse condition. To illustrate the importance of a 3-second following distance, we will look at the stop distance chart. You can see someone traveling 10 miles per hour will travel almost 15 feet a second and require about 42 feet to stop. Essentially, your 3-second following distance is the 15 feet you travel per second times 3, or about 42 feet. You can see the 3-second following distance gives you plenty of time to stop in dry conditions. The same holds for vehicles traveling at 50 miles per hour. At 50 miles per hour, a 3-second following distance provides a cushion of about 220 feet. Now, even if the vehicle ahead of you suddenly slams on its brakes, you both need 302 feet to come to a complete stop, and the 220-foot cushion is plenty of space to stop before colliding with the vehicle ahead of you. Although you are focused on giving the vehicle in front of you 3-second cushion, keep in mind that you also maintain a 20 to 30-second visual lead. The visual lead helps you identify potential risks well ahead of the vehicle immediately ahead of yours. This is going to give you time to adjust your speed or execute evasive maneuvers before reaching the potential hazard. When you stop behind a vehicle, make sure to leave plenty of space. Stop far enough back so you can see the rear tires of the vehicle ahead and a couple extra feet of pavement. A helpful rule of thumb is actually to use your thumb. Extend your left hand, turn it so the palm faces down, and extend your thumb. The idea is to have your thumb's width of space between the front edge of your car and the bottom of the tires of the vehicle ahead. Of course, you will not need to do this every time. It's more of a guide to help you maintain an appropriate distance when you've stopped behind another vehicle. This extra margin will help you move around the vehicle if necessary. It's crucial to maintain a generous amount of space in front of your vehicle. Sure, other drivers may be tempted to move into that space in front of you, but few drivers enter your lane enough to necessitate a reduction in speed on your part. Maintaining enough space to the front will always be a challenge when driving around other vehicles, but when you need it, you'll be glad you went through the trouble of maintaining that space. Because traffic often approaches the space to your sides or drives right alongside of you, maintaining enough space also means keeping open spaces to your sides whenever possible. For instance, if a couch falls off of a flatbed truck right in front of you, you may not have enough space to stop if you're trying to brake to avoid it. In that case, you'll need to maneuver around the couch, which means having space to move either left or right. Ideally, you should have space on both sides, giving you more options. To avoid hitting the couch, you must be able to quickly move left or right without being able to visually confirm if there's enough space. Therefore, it is crucial to know already that the space is available. Every driver is capable of creating space around their vehicles. Using your speed is the quickest way to make space around the vehicle. Speed can be a very effective space acquisition and management tool. When there's a vehicle next to you, ease off the accelerator and give the other vehicle some space to move ahead. Not only do you need to maintain enough space to the front of your vehicle, but you also need to leave space to the sides. Although it takes a little effort, you should strive to always have one car width of space to at least one side of your car. When practical, having this much space on both sides of your vehicle is even better. We've all experienced driving when suddenly you need to move to the side, but the space is blocked. Since modern cars can stop quickly, there isn't always enough room to come to a stop before hitting something in front of you. In this scenario, steering into the available space on either side will be more effective if you keep those spaces open. If you fail to create enough space to the side of your vehicle, your options are limited. Again, the easiest way to create the space you need to the left or the right of the vehicle is to lift off the accelerator to add a car's length of space to the side. The space to the sides can also extend into the question of which lane you should drive on. The roads with 2 lanes, the right lane is generally the better choice. When you travel in the left lane, there's often no open space to the left because it generally contains oncoming traffic or medians. The same is true for roads with 3 lanes. The left lane still affords the fewest options in terms of available space because, again, to the left is oncoming traffic or the median. There will always be better and worse choices when it comes to which lane you travel in. Therefore, drivers should carefully consider which lane they are traveling in. Although we can control the space to the front and sides of the vehicle, we have far less control over the space to the rear, and it's hard to see what is behind us. The space to our rear is just as important to the rest of the space around our vehicle. Nobody wants to get hit from behind, and rear-end collisions can injure and kill as easily as impacts from other directions. While we have less control over this space, there are ways we can communicate with drivers behind us. We can signal early before we make a turn, or tap on the brakes a couple times before we actually use the brakes to start slowing down. Dealing with the tailgater requires caution and a strategic approach. It's crucial not to speed up, as it would reduce the space between you and the vehicle ahead of you. Instead, continue driving until it's safe for the vehicle behind you to pass and then gently ease off the accelerator. This will signal to the tailgater that it's safe to overtake, making the situation smoother for both parties. In extreme cases, it may be necessary to pull off the road in order to create more distance between yourself and the potential aggressive driver. Since we cannot control the space behind us, the best thing to do is to allow any tailgater to drive past us and become somebody else's problem. Before you decrease your speed, or as you approach an intersection with a stale green signal, it's essential to take a moment to check your mirrors. This simple action can help you become completely aware of your surroundings and ensure a safe journey. This can help you identify any potential risks from behind, such as tailgaters. And again, tapping your brakes a couple times before you actually slow down can do an excellent job of warning the driver behind you. Also, when you are stopped and waiting to make a left-hand turn at an intersection, instead of turning your steering wheel to the left, keep your wheels pointed straight ahead until you start to turn. This way, if you are hit from behind, you are more likely to be bumped straight ahead rather than to the left into the path of oncoming traffic. It's clear that space is your best friend when driving. It's harder to collide with anything when you have enough space around your vehicle. Given the ever-changing traffic around your vehicle, the first priority is to create space, followed closely by the ongoing task of maintaining the space. Adjustments must be made to ensure that the space around your vehicle is constantly preserved. Speed becomes not just how fast you move down the road, but even more importantly, it becomes your tool to maintain space. Many drivers never consider that they can take even more control of their speed and use it to reduce the risk by maintaining space. Remember, the more space you have around your vehicle, the safer you'll be. Always maintain a space cushion. You can use speed and space as a tool to improve safety while driving.